from the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, it's Midnight in the Marshaverse, starring Marsha Warfield and her two sons, Stephen Roberts and Skillz Hudson, as the problem child.
Well, good morning. Welcome to Midnight in the Marshaverse. We've been off for a week. We took the holiday off. It was a working holiday for me. I was doing an episode of Night Court. When it's scheduled to air, I'll let you know, and so make sure you watch that. But I was in Bowie, banging in Bowie with Joe Clare on his show the day after Thanksgiving, and then Night Court, and now back here in the Marshaverse, where we can have our weekly cannabis and cognac. Yay! I look forward to this all week. I wait for this magic witching hour between daylight, nighttime, and midnight, and yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and I have my weekly chill session because we schedule everything else in our lives. We just don't schedule time for ourselves to just chill. And I like to chill with cannabis and cognac. And so tonight, I'm going to have my old friend for cannabis and cognac. I'm going to revisit some of my favorites. Of course, my favorite of all is always Martell. I've always loved this brand. I like them all pretty much, but I love this brand. And so tonight, in honor of entering our holiday season and good friends and all that kind of stuff, we're going to have a little of our old friend Martell. And speaking of old friends, this is my favorite battery. It's a church battery, and this cartridge is a throwback cartridge. It's Maui Wowie. So I'm going to have some 1970s, 1980s strain legacy Maui Wowie. Come on now, there you go. Join me if you like. Patience, grasshopper, will always pay off. Tonight, I wanted to talk about something I made a TikTok video about, and I want to kind of explore a little more the subject of freeing your colonized mind. There will never be equality in this nation as long as white men are convinced that they are superior, and that the way to equality is for everybody else to be more like them. That's self-destruction. You're headed for self-destruction. The basic premise of freeing your colonized mind is to understand that you will never achieve equality as long as you center white men as the top of nature's food chain. As long as you worship the religion he created in his delusional rock star superhero image, it will enslave you. When you aspire to live by the slave master's religion's tenets of color-coded, gender-based, violent immorality while on your misguided mission to get closer to your oppressor's God, you will only be continually re-enslaving yourself, your ancestors, and your progeny. You never once realized that white Jesus' heaven is a plantation. Free your colonized mind. Your liberated ass will follow. And that's why I invite you, if you so choose, to join the Church of Jesus. Because most people worship a God who looks like them, and black women have not been allowed to have that freedom. We also don't appreciate or embrace our African American unique culture, when we throw back to gods of other cultures, there is a lot there. But when you bring it here to our American experience, we have to have a religion that addresses all of that, all that we have been and all that we are now. And it's time now for women to understand that power is not just violence, power is not just bullying, power is not just a military answer to every problem. And once we understand where our power lies, and not only that we have power, that we are entitled to our power, that we are all that we claim we want to be already, then we will be able to affect change in a way that we haven't been able to do right now. And I cast the last election in that light, that we were voting for the soul of America. And America's soul, I believe the population wants the future and not the past, wants the future, America's soul to be aspirational, and wants to embrace equality. We just have to understand that in decentering white men, there's going to be pain there. And they're going to have to just suck it up and move on, just like the rest of us have, who have not been born white men. But we have to start talking about these things and acknowledging them before we can move past them. So it's my goal right now, who I am, where I've been, what I've seen, to do whatever I can to help you free your colonized mind and open it up to the wonder and power that is you. You have so much to give in any conflict between good and evil. You have so much good, and the good will out if you believe it, and if you understand that it's not outside of you, it's inside of you. And your creator was created and given to you umbilically by the first mother. This is a continuum that goes on and relates all of us. And so once you understand that, all your thinking will change, and you will be able to put aside the things that tend to worry you now, because every commercial is, do I need Jardians, or maybe I weigh too much, or whatever, whatever. And you don't, you rarely get a chance to be around people who say, ain't nothing wrong with you. Ain't nothing wrong with you. The problem with the black community has always been white people. And people have made it so saying that is something to be punished for. We have to tell the truth. We have to understand we have the right to tell the truth. And so I say, if you want to join the Church of Jesus, all you have to do is believe in the divinity of she who creates life, and believe that you were created in your creator's image. She who gives life, male and female, makes she them. Believe in your family, believe in yourself. We're going to get wherever we want to go. So that's my pontification and my comediosophy in my role as world's foremost comediosopher and theologian, because I made that shit up. Right now, we are going to have a word from our sponsor. Tonight's Midnight in the Marshaverse is proud to announce our new sponsor, White Man Global Incorporated. Now that the Council of Caucasity has installed crime boss Donald "that damn Trump" as president-elect and CEO of the United States of Trumplandia Enterprises, our regular sponsor, Aunt Karen's Suburban Seasonings Lima Bean Casserole in a Can Company, has been taken over by the government. or as it's now known, the amerment, as in the amerment of the people. Thus, the Council of Caucasity having merged with the consortium of wealthy Bitcoin owners of yo shit or cowboys, have established the former USA as the capital of what has effectively become known a one world white corporation under a stooge. So, trust the dork overlord to do what's best for you and your family as long as he agrees with it, gets paid for it, and is approved by his Russian handlers. Because no matter how white you are, there's always somebody so white he has to wear orange makeup in the sun, making him closest to white Jesus, of course, and making us blessed to be sponsored by White Man Global Incorporated, the business of giving its customers the business. When I started doing stand-up again and getting back in the show business, I took 20 years off to live a whole nother life. And when I came back, a lot of people knew who I used to be, but a lot of people didn't. And a lot of people in casting and in the business, they had grown up in a whole different generation. They had no idea who I was and what I did. And so it wasn't like, I was getting a lot of calls. And one day I got a call that said I had a show, a popular show, a top-rated show that I was already cast and I got the gig. I got it out of the blue. And it was 911. And I got to play Hen's mom. And I think we were related by the haircut, We favor by our barbers. But it was a wonderful experience for me for so many reasons. And one is that I came out after I came back. I came out for the first time in my 60s, and to be on a show where I played the mother of a woman who is married to a woman uh, and has kids and a family and is just living her life was really uh, wonderful for me. I can go in and tell you about how it made me, it makes me feel in these kind of situations, but that's another story. And one of the people I got to meet and work with, I was on this set, I was scared to death. They had no idea. I hadn't worked in years. And so I'm working and I'm watching these women, they are so freaking talented and effortless. And I had to step up and just hope for the best. And luckily, they were very sweet and nice and very talented and indulgent of an old lady who was just getting back in the game. And one of those ladies is here tonight. I'm so happy to introduce this beautiful, talented young woman that I got a chance to work with, and now I'm getting a chance to have a drink with. Won't you say hello to Tracie Thoms?
Hi. I'm so good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Are you having a drink with me? You don't smoke, do you smoke?
Absolutely. I
Or
don't
good,
smoke.
good. Okay,
I
that's good.
try. I'm the only person in my house who doesn't smoke.
Well, I'm having a little cognac. What are you having?
I'm having a scotch.
Ooh,
I'm
you
having a
like?
Lagavulin.
I'm not familiar with scotches. The last time I had a scotch when I was 21, for some reason I got convinced that scotch and milk would be a good drink. Yep.
No.
No, it wasn't. And so Paul Mooney introduced me to cognac, and I've
Did you
been
know that
drinking it ever since.
it's so interesting that I learned that cognac is actually in the wine family?
Yes, it's burnt wine. Yeah,
Yeah.
it probably has a link to the Atlantic slave trade because
Bro.
the wine was spoiling, and so they
Oh.
double distilled it or something like that to make sure it would last on those long voyages.
Oh, well,
And, you know,
the
everything is
more you know.
everything. You are from where?
I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, to answer your question.
I was just in Baltimore and did the Bangin' and Bowie show with Joe Claire.
Did you have
But
fun?
yes, I
Good.
enjoyed it very much. But growing up in Baltimore, were you always in show business? Did you always have a hankering?
Well, since I was about 9, my father worked at Maryland Public Television, so I grew up kind of running around TV sets. Um, so I didn't necessarily want to be an actor, but when I was like 9 years old, I became obsessed with Junior Star Search. Remember Junior Star Search?
I think I judged on that show.
Probably did. That seems like I remember that. And I
Yeah.
became obsessed with the show. I have no idea why, because I was an only child at the time. My brother was born when I was 13. So I just wanted to be on the show, but I was afraid to sing because I thought I would crack. I was afraid to dance. I thought I would fall. I was not funny. I had no desire to do stand-up comedy on the thing. I'm not built that way. But the acting part, I'm like, oh, that's actually a job. People actually do acting. And if you remember, they had like people would like literally compete. So one kid would do the same scene twice. And I was like, I could do that. I can do this. And I went in my parents' room and I was like, hey, mom and dad, I want to take acting lessons. And they were like, great. And that's the end of that.
You know, my mother would have said, "You better act like you already took them." But
Would have normally, but because my dad was already in the business, it was like, okay, great.
yeah, well, that's a progress,
Yeah.
and I think about that a lot. I think about uh, again walking on sets and seeing either on a set that has inclusive, diverse
Oh,
cast, and seeing different people respected and working on both sides of the camera. That's one thing. Or working on an all black show where I
mhm.
walk on the set and everybody's black and it brings tears to my eyes
Yeah,
because I remember when you had to do your own hair before you got to work because there was nobody to do your hair.
exactly.
Uh,
Speaking of sets, you can see my man in the background.
okay, hey man,
His name is Eugene Bird. He's awesome. You're in the
how you
reflection.
doing?
Oh, listen.
Hey, how you doing?
Fourth of
Strong,
July.
silent type.
I know. He's also my IT department
It's
who
so nice to have a man around the house.
I know. It actually really is. Not to be, I could have done it.
Yeah, yeah. I
You could've-
know.
I
I
could
know.
have.
you
However,
could've done
it happens to be his
Why-
strength.
It's nice to know you don't have to.
No, why not delegate? That's what they said. Why not delegate? I mean, he's here.
Okay.
Um,
So, how did you get in started in the business?
so I started this acting class when I was 9, and I was not good. I was actually very, very terrible at acting. I was very terrible. I wasn't good at singing. I could remember choreography, but I was like an inflexible child, which is weird. Like most kids can kick high and like do split.
Nah.
I was always not flexible. I could learn, I could retain the choreography. I did 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is like the era of jazz. Remember, like everything was like, let's do Chicago and let's do like and all that jazz. We're just learning like jazz runs and like jazz hands and all the jazz stuff. And I could learn the choreography and execute it uh, like where I was doing it, but I wasn't good at it. And I wasn't really good at acting either because I was very self-conscious as a kid. And I was always judging myself even while I was acting, but I still loved it. So my parents didn't tell me I wasn't good. That's the key. They just didn't tell me that they didn't tell me that I was sung off key. They didn't tell me that I was not convincing as an actor. My dad was kind of like, well, let's just keep working on it because I grew up going to the theater and going to plays and things like that. I don't remember seeing my first play.
So
You know,
did you add on knowledge, skills that helped you bring your dream uh, to fruition, or
I
did you take off inhibition that kept you from
I I
connecting with that dream?
I think what I ended up doing was these are really good questions.
Thank you.
Um, I think what ended up happening, I just kind of kept doing it and kept doing it. And when I would try to not do it, I was miserable, you know. And my mom was a social worker, so she was kind of like, whatever you want to do, honey, I support you. Um, my dad was like, he was an artist kind of. So he was just like, well, just keep at it. And then when I would quit, I'd be miserable.
So what was the moment? What was the moment when you knew this was what you
This
were
was it
going
for
to do?
life.
Yeah.
Well, so my freshman year of high school, I went to an all girls high school, and my father was like, "Why are you doing that? You hate it. You should go to school for the arts with all of your friends from theater camp." And I was like, "No, I want to be normal." He was like, "What's normal?" Okay, fine. First day of school, I was like, "This is a big mistake. I should not be here in this all girls school." And I auditioned for a little school play. I didn't get it, and I was mad. So then I transferred to school for the arts. I thought that would be it, but I was still like, I need to be normal. So then I went to Howard University and minored in theater, but majored in communications. And one day my father was introducing me to a friend of his, and he was like, "This is my daughter. She's in the theater department at Howard." And I was like, "Dad, no, I'm not. I'm in the School of Communications." Like he kept forgetting, and he was like, "Oh, right, she's in the school. She's in radio, TV, film." And then he just like literally asked me in front of like strangers, like, "Why are you doing that?" Like my father worked at PBS at this point. He's like, "You're not a filmmaker. Filmmakers have a way they see the world, and you don't have that. You're a performer, and you're only not in the School of Fine Arts because you're afraid you're going to fail. Like you're doing everything out of fear, and you can't live out of fear. You can't just not do what you love because you're afraid you're going to fail at it. You have to go for it." And he was right. I had a 4.0 GPA, like Q. And I was like, he's right. So I switched my major. And that was it. I was like, here I go.
So you left school and went to the big city.
I switched my major to acting.
Right. But when you left school, you went to the big city.
Yeah, I went to the big city, go to grad school at Juilliard. See, I'm like overtrained.
Okay. That I want to ask you about that.
Mhm.
I have never taken a class or nothing, and so how much of what you learned can you use in the television
Every day.
industry?
For me, because of the
Mhm.
way that I'm wired. Some people are wired, they're very free and they don't have inhibitions. I get very nervous and very like my imposter syndrome can be very, very strong.
Yeah,
And
well,
the one thing I have that can combat my imposter syndrome is my training. So if I get like worried that I don't know what I'm doing, I have to remember, you know what you're doing. These are the lessons you've learned and you have the tools. Just go back to your toolbox and pick that number 5 wrench up. That's what you use for this.
okay.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
I don't have that at all.
But you
I
don't need that.
But I
Obviously,
don't have, and it's not that, it's to tell young people and people who have dreams that there's no one way to go about it. No two
particularly
people
now.
have ever made it the same way and have the same makeup needs, whatever. Do
Exactly.
what works for you. Make
Absolutely.
it up as you go along. There ain't no rules.
We didn't have the YouTube, TikTok. We didn't have a direct line from our living room and our passions to the world. There were all these gatekeepers when I was growing up.
We had two cans and a string. And some crayons that we could color pictures, then
Right,
flip them. No, we didn't have
right.
any of that. It's so amazing that we can uh,
You can become a
do all
star.
this stuff. And what's really amazing is that we have always had this chitlin circuit thing from the beginning of show business, where we
Mhm.
had to do it up under the mainstream. But
Absolutely.
in doing that, you made some home cooking way out of no way, gonna feed everybody with what you got kind of sustenance that
Yeah.
we don't often take a bow for. We don't often congratulate ourselves for. And I
Also,
am just so amazed at it when I see
it's
it.
amazing. But I think what we have, our generation, my generation, and every generation before mine, if you consider your generation before mine, or like a half generation, what we have is, I think, a larger sense of community than a lot of people have now, because people are so used to being their own producer, lighting designer, sound guy, wherever. They do it all by themselves in their house.
Yeah.
They don't reach out to people. So what I feel like my strong suit is, I'm like, hey, I can do what I do. You do what you do. You do what you do. Let's all come together and make something great.
Right.
And it involves
You made a movie.
a collective of people.
Okay. Tell me about that. It's a horror holiday movie.
Yeah, we just did a movie called Our Happy Place. We went to our first film festival this past weekend, and literally during the pandemic, a friend of mine, his name is Paul Bickle, him and his wife were trapped in Big Bear. And they're like, we're just gonna make a movie, the two of us. But Paul, his day job is working in props. His wife's day job is a third grade teacher. But she quit acting 20 years ago. She's like, I'm sorry, I'm not good at it. I guess I'm not. It's not going to happen. I don't have the stamina for it, but she's very good. And they literally shot most of the movie together, the both of them. They're the crew. I mean, literally, they're focus pulling off camera. Like if one hand is not on camera, they're focus pulling into all this crazy stuff, and it looks amazing. And then me and Eugene, who you just met, my partner, we were their friends on FaceTime. So almost our whole performance is on FaceTime, trying to talk to them. And they were having this like descent into madness, stuck in the mountains in Big Bear. And it's a crew of like not even 10 people, the whole, all said and done. It's the four of us in the movie. It's like a sound guy. No, it's a music guy, an editor, and a producer. And that's like it. We made this whole movie.
And do you like being in charge and doing that
but I will.
project?
You know, and I was like not so much in charge in the making of it. I'm more in charge in the post of it right now, which is something that I've always, I mean, produce people like you've always been a producer, because I'm always like, hey, what do you need? I know people, because I think for me, maybe it's the theater kid in me. I think strength is in numbers. I think if we get so isolated, I want all the credit. I want to be the star. I want to be known. I'm like, no, I delegate, and then we all eat.
Right.
You know, everybody eats.
Okay. Well, I look forward to it when you're gonna let me know when we can see.
Yeah. And don't think I'm not going
movie. And the name of it again? Say it again now.
It's called Our Happy Place.
And
Our
Happy Place.
Follow it at Our Happy Place on Instagram. Our Happy Place movie on Instagram.
All right. Well, everybody's gonna look for that. I could talk to you all night. We could sit here and drink, but hey, but you got a man waiting for you, and I got two men about to come out here. And so if you'll stay for a couple of minutes and meet my sons and let them fanboy all over you, then I would appreciate that. And we'll let you get the hell out of here and go to bed.
Listen, this is my time of night. I'm a night owl, so.
Oh, well. So aren't we all? But first, I want you to meet my oldest son. He looks just like me. He's a little like his dad, but he looks just like me. And he produces my one-woman show, The Book of Marsha. I met him doing stand-up. We worked together for 3 or 4 years as part of the same crew, and he's still doing stand-up, but he likes to do it with his clothes off. He'll tell you about it. Anyway, say hello to my son, Stephen Roberts.
Oh my God, you look so much alike.
We do. It's the hair.
Resemblance is
yeah, I know. So, Stephen, say hello.
Hi, Tracie. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
Oh, I'm so pleased to get to actually meet you. I would like to know when we're going to get to hear you sing again.
Uh,
Because
that's a good question,
Mom, have you
Stephen.
heard her voice?
No,
Have you
she
heard her
says
voice?
she can't. Let her tell her she can't sing, she can't act, she can't dance, she can drink scotch. I've worked with her. I know she can act now, but I have not heard you sing.
Oh, well, most people in the world think I can sing very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's imposter
But you
syndrome.
want to argue with them, all them people.
No, because
You just
here's the issue. My training is in acting. My training is not in singing. I'm always making it up.
Oh, yeah.
I don't feel as
That's-
confident in it. That's just me. And it's just it's a problem. But
No, it's not a problem.
well, you let
You're
me know
doing
when, because I'll go watch. I'll go listen.
I just posted it. I sang last week on Thursday in a gig, and I posted it on at Tracie Thoms on
Okay.
Instagram. I did that.
all
I
right.
did
Well, let
in
everybody hear
October. I did
Tracy
in
Thoms
October.
sing and act and dance and all that stuff. And right now, I want you to meet my problem child, my baby son. He's as sweet as he can be, smiles mile wide, and he's just adorable. So he's a funny stand up, and he's my problem child. So
Yeah.
say hello. Say hello to Skillz Hudson. Hey, boo.
Hi, Phil.
Say hey, Tracy.
Hey Tracy, that was taking a while to get me out here.
Yeah, well, you're out here now. Now you're gonna waste time complaining. You
It's
got
a
something you
pleasure,
want to
Tracy.
ask this
Yes,
lovely lady?
yes. You kind of answered it a little bit, um,
Mm.
but it's about ask about your aspirations and producing or directing projects of others or your own in the future.
Yeah, I think I'm probably getting into my producing part of my life. People want me to direct a lot because I coach. I coach acting for like friends and people I know. And so therefore people think I can direct. Directing feels so overwhelming to me. If there's so many moving parts and my ADD is like too much, too many things. But perhaps one day I'll jump off that
I
bridge.
think you would be fantabulous. I think you would be fantastic at anything you decided you wanted to do. You know, if the only voice saying no, no is in here,
Mm-hmm.
turn
Absolutely.
it off and listen to, and I'm choking on this thing, but listen to all of the people who love you because you put out something lovable.
No.
And you know what comes from the heart goes to the heart. And so you are discovering the things that other people find obvious about you. And as you discover more and more, you'll see you're more than ready for anything you decide you want to do. You're a very talented, beautiful lady with a whole world ahead of you, and ain't no reason why you can't grab a big piece of it for yourself and do it like you want it done. I thank you so much for coming, and you're welcome to come back here anytime and
Right.
bring the strong, silent type man with you. We appreciate him
Yeah,
being in the background. He's a cutie pie.
I know he's great. He's great. He did go home and he was like, oh God, they can see me. Goodbye.
Uh, well, anyway, like I said, come back again and thank you for coming tonight. We
Thank you
love
so
you.
much for having me. Cheers.
Anytime. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye bye.
Mhm.
Isn't it lovely?
Yeah.
Isn't she lovely?
I love her.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear people who are very successful also share that they struggle with their demons.
Yeah. We all do, you know, and
Yep.
you know, sometimes I guess it does help to hear somebody so clearly talented and successful and, you know, seemingly on top of the world, not just the game, but the world. Uh, and hear her voice those doubts, and you're going, what? It kind of makes you put your own self in perspective and go, I say those same things when people say those things to me. Maybe I should being a little hard on myself too.
Right.
So,
Or maybe I don't see myself, maybe I see myself with warped perspective.
well,
You
of
know,
course we do. We all do. Just like a mirror shows us a backward image, we see ourselves from inside out. We don't see from outside in. That's a perspective that we have to work on. People go to therapy to see that outside in person. So,
yeah.
anyway, so how have you guys been?
How have you been, Skills?
I'm good. I'm about to try tonight chocolate covered mushrooms for the time.
A
You know,
chocolate covered mushroom.
yes, it's I got it
Okay.
from top was performing it earlier tonight at Christmas party for this dispensary and yeah, he gave me this. I was like, I'm gonna try it on the show tonight.
Excellent. You're going to eat the
I
whole
I
thing?
never had a chocolate covered marshmallow that wasn't medicated. So I don't know.
It's a mushroom.
It's a mushroom.
A chocolate
Yeah,
covered mushroom, I don't know.
How does it taste?
it's real good. It's
What
Oh,
but
good.
wait
pink.
a minute. Is it a weed edible or is it a mushroom kind of psychosyllabic syllabus
Psilocybin.
psilocybin kind of thing
Oh no, I think it's a edible.
It's an edible.
It say 500 milligrams.
of cannabis, THC?
No, it say 500 milligrams of cocaine.
Shut up.
Cocaine.
You're getting ready to be
Cocaine
blitzo.
mushroom?
You getting ready to be like just
And I got my
okay.
drink that's
What
matching
you
my outfit.
drinking? Brer Rabbit syrup? That's what it
Oh, I
looks
love
like.
that. That's
What
ginger
This
is
is
beer.
oh. I thought it was that Brer Rabbit syrup. Molasses. You know that jar that's in everybody's
Yes.
house that you've had since you were born?
Because your mother says, don't touch that. That's for Christmas.
Yeah, and it never you never run out of. Nobody has ever bought 2 bottles of molasses,
Because you only need 1 tablespoon each year.
and because it's so cloying, and it's like, yeah. Anyway,
Somebody told
so
me I was as slow as molasses in January once. So I waited. And then I got the bottle outside and I was like, okay, let's see. Let's see how it was kind of slow.
it was pretty slow, I'm
Uh-huh.
sure. Listen,
hey, could I say this before you say something? Could I say this?
okay.
My throat ain't been the same since Thanksgiving evening when you had me try that contraction over there at your house. The food was delicious, but this contraction, Stephen, that thing right there is the devil. Give you a
Did it
little cute little straw. Huh, take your straw. That shit zoomed it up the throat even
Zooped
faster.
it up his throat. It zooped it. Write that down. It zooped it up his throat.
did it
Zoomed
burn
it
you?
up.
Does it burn your throat?
Yes,
No, my
and then when I was
excuse me.
about to leave, she offered me again after I already done burnt down the. You want one to go?
Now, see, he smokes like, you know,
Every minute?
yeah, but he smokes like mid weed.
What?
He don't he don't smoke top tier. He smokes like mid weed.
You got some
And so
Walmart
Man,
weed. You got some
yeah,
Walmart weed over there,
yeah.
Skills.
And so
You've
he
got
has
your
to
weed at
keep
Savers.
twisting and keep twisting and keep smoking and keep smoking. And that's how he likes it. I like to hit the shit and forget it. And then maybe later on, 12 hours or so, I might hit it again.
Hey,
So
let's look at the brand of this week. Oh, Woolworths. I didn't know they were around still.
Timu.
Oh,
He gets his weed from Timu.
Timu weed.
somebody with them old ass references. Go, sir. Sir,
Timu.
man.
Timu. No, he's
Anyway,
making fun of me.
anyway, wanted to ask a question. What was your worst high school memory?
I remember
Okay.
when I was 16 and I was over at Pace Alternative School in Robbins. I got kicked out of Thornton, and I was going to Pace Alternative School, and they had the bad kids and the slower kids in the same class together. And there was this guy named Jonathan, this white boy named Jonathan. He was slow, and I used to mess with him, and he choked the shit out of me this one day. And if it wasn't my cousin in the class with me to jump on and help her before the teacher, because the teacher went out of class, he turned around and did one of the movie stuntman choke. He was so strong.
I'm sorry that happened to you. No better for you. Okay, so that's fucked up, man.
That's
Get over it.
That's why I remember him. I will remember him today.
Well, Jonathan, I hope here's to you.
Yes.
Stephen,
here's
what was your worst?
Oh, most of my stuff has to do with bigger dudes not liking my mouth. And I just, so I lived on the border of Mexico, and we would go to Mexico to drink, 15, 16, going to have some drinks over in Mexico. It's normal.
Yeah.
And I was at this club, and I was dancing, and there was this bully who was up in the balcony at the club in Mexico looking down at me. And I was with a hairdresser who was like 24, and our friends, and he was big and tough and cool. And I looked at the guy on the balcony, and I went like this. I went like that because I was like all empowered and everything. Then I went back to dancing, and I was dancing, and I felt a tap on my shoulder, and I turned around and I got punched right in the face. Yeah. And but then the little bitch ran right off, and my hairdresser friend went and ran after him. But then the rest of my high school that year, I was always watching out for him because I was afraid he was gonna. So like the whole year was horrible.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
Yeah, but I mean, I did the thing that Skillz and I have in common is we both kind of instigated that.
Well, yeah. Well, my worst high school memory was at a picnic, an outing, it's a high school outing. We went to Starved Rock or somewhere in Illinois that had rides and a forest preserve and all that kind of stuff. And so it's hot and muggy, and we're all eating, food that like you eat in those good hot dogs, and then somebody got some beer. So as the day goes on, this fella named Charles Hawkins was dating another friend of mine named Antonia. And so they asked me to take the tilt or one of the teacups or something. Anyway, so I get in the thing and it's hot and
Oh no.
and we're going around and around and around, and Charles waits till the end of the ride. The ride stopped, We pushed the bar up, and he leaned over and threw up in my lap.
Oh
A
my
six-pack
God.
of hot dogs and beer, rancid with bile, on my lap at 92 degrees
Oh.
outside, and I have no other clothes. And the buses aren't leaving for 5 hours.
And you were in high school?
Eh?
High school?
Yes.
What was he doing drinking?
You just said you went to Mexico when you was 15.
Yeah, but I
16.
thought it was a high school trip. It wasn't a high school trip.
But ours was a high school trip. We went to
But
the
you brought
park.
beer with you to the high
No,
school?
the bus drivers bought it.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
bus driver brought the beer.
The bus drivers bought it. That's that's
See,
an incidental point to the whole story.
yeah,
The
look,
story is that Charles Hawkins threw up in my lap.
look,
And where's
and
the
the,
sympathy and concern
Did you
that
see my
this
face? I felt bad for
memory
you.
that I've been living with for 50 years, and now you want to talk about
and the
I'm
smell.
sorry. I'm
To
sorry.
get the scent in your nose of the smell. It had to be back then.
it was
That's back.
awful, and I had
That
to
was
wear
back
it all
like
day, all flipping, flapping day.
Oh, you had to. Oh God.
Yes.
I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Well, yeah, I'm mostly over it now. But that brings me to another question. I decided we would just forego the whole rant thing and
Okay.
ask you a question. If
uh,
there was one thing you could do over in your life, what would it be?
not wear hats.
Why?
Because my mom used to tell me when I was little, she was like, "Boy, stop wearing them hats and just go pick your hair out." And I would, and this girl, I think I had to be about 11 or 12. She told me, she's like, "You look cute with your hat on." She the one that got
So some little girl got you wearing hats
yeah, she
50
sold
years
me.
later, 40 years later.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know how you park a car on the front grass, and if you leave it there long enough and you move it how the grass be,
Uh-huh.
and the grass be good around it, but up under where that car was,
So you wore your hair off. Well, that's a theory, and it works for you.
fun. I
Huh.
didn't wear my, that was a, I,
Well, what's
you have
the car
to
got to
like
do with being on your head? What'd it do if it didn't
that.
take your hair?
The car with the analogy of being on your front yard. You know how some people will park the car in your grass and the
Yes,
grass
I
still.
know.
I was wearing the hat as a crutch, thinking that I looked cuter with my hat on, like that car being in the front yard, being that cute attraction to the front of the house. And
Oh,
yeah,
I wasn't hip to the car being the house ornament thing.
I have
Miss-
news for you.
what?
Car on the grass in front of a house is actually an eyesore.
Yeah, well, I knew I missed something, and that
it's
must
up
have been what it was.
for bougie
What?
people. If you in the hood and you got a Chevy on them things sitting in the front of your yard and your crib is a trap house, that shit looks nice.
Okay.
Okay.
I I
I
I
I stand corrected.
I don't have any relevant information to share about my visits to the trap house and what it was that alerted me that this was indeed the place that I needed to go to procure what I needed to have. Anyway, Stephen,
Yes.
hi.
Hi.
What would you do over?
Well, like skills, it's more about a mindset than an actual thing.
I was gonna
I
say, don't tell me about no damn hat.
I
But
would
go ahead.
have I would have moved to New York after high school. I was convinced that I had to go to school, and I was also convinced that there was some kind of race to get someplace to. I heard people say, get into the business while you're young, and I went, and I was so afraid of trying that I always did everything by the book, and I wished I would have just moved to New York and seen what happened, and not try to be so perfect all the time.
Yeah, go for it, babe. Just
Yeah.
go for it.
Yes.
Nobody ever got drafted into this business. We all got into it because we wanted to, and we make it the way we make it. And
Yeah.
so go for it.
What Tracie just told that story about her dad telling her that.
Yeah.
You just got to go for it. What I would have done for somebody to say that to me. But,
Hey,
you know,
that's how I feel about singing. I'm not the greatest singer in the world, but I always wanted to sing. But I was always scared somebody was going to laugh at me. Until just recently, it dawned on me, fool, of course they're going to laugh at you. That's what you do. But if I could do anything over, it would be my audition for The Color Purple. I did the Marva Collins story. It was the first acting dramatic role I ever had, and it was with Cicely Tyson. And again, it was one of those instances where I get this gig, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I got all the lines. Cicely Tyson has no lines in the scene. And so, besides hello, come on in, but I've got all the lines and I don't really know what I'm doing. So I just, your back is against the wall, you just go for it. So I just went for it. They loved it. They told me I was great. It was natural. Cicely Tyson, Morgan Freeman, uh, Charlie Brown, these are stellar actors and stuff. So, in other words, I nailed it. It was great. The casting director was Reuben Cannon, and he was out of Chicago, and he was out of Chicago. So when The Color Purple came up, the role of Sophia, I got called in to read for. I had Reuben, and Reuben was very nice and welcoming, and let me see this. We're gonna put it on film, and I showed up on Quaaludes. It went pretty much like you would expect somebody's audition to go if they showed up on Quaaludes. What went through my mind that made me say, I'll probably be fine when I get there? I have no idea what made me do that. It was the worst audition anybody ever did. And I never heard from him again under any circumstance. And I don't blame him. It was embarrassing. It was something I you know can't really forget. But if I had one moment to do over, that would be it. Not saying I would have gotten the role, but I wouldn't feel so bad
But
about
I love
what I
to see
did.
you in that role, Mark, because I love that character. I would have loved to see you play what you would have brought to that role, Mark.
she
Yep.
would have nailed it. She would
Yes,
have.
Hey,
definitely.
Oprah took the ball, ran with it. She did
So,
that thing. She got her, all she was due. I ain't mad at her. I did that. I did what I
would have
did
loved to
to
see you
myself.
say, "You told Hoppo to beat me."
Yep. Yep.
That would have been amazing.
I would have
Yeah,
had fun with it. But anyway, we all have regrets, and the thing about it, talking about our imposter syndromes and all of that kind of stuff, is no matter what you do, no matter how prepared you are, no matter how hesitant or whatever you are, when it comes down to it, you're either going to deliver or you're not. And most often you're going to deliver. And you just got to go for it. You just, uh, the only regrets you'll have is not uh, trying and failing, it's setting yourself up for failure in advance. and for not going for it. So always, I think if there's a theme throughout this show, this episode, it's turn off the voice in your head and go with the dream in your heart. I've said before, your dreams are your life's blueprint. It's the one that's given to you by whatever spirit you believe in at birth that motivates you before you know how to put words together, how to walk, how to do anything. If you can stay in touch with those dreams and follow them, you'll always be a success, no matter how much you accumulate or don't. Uh, but what you dream, what stirs your heart, is what you should do.
Yeah.
My
Thank you.
passion, besides this business and my wonderful sons, my passion is Black History museums. And one of the museums I have been fortunate enough to be associated with, the Jim Crow Museum at Big Rapids at Ferris State University, has been having a fundraiser for their expansion project for a while now, and they're breaking ground soon on their larger facility. And it's wonderful and sad that there is so much racist imagery and artifacts and memorabilia to display. But it's wonderful that this museum has grown from a room to this its own standalone facility. And why we need it is not just for the origins of show business and that and the other, but we have to understand that Jim Crow was a horrible time. It was a horrid system, and we had a system of black codes that different southern states put in place after the Civil War to basically re-enslave um, black people within the law as it was set. And if you go to the Jim Crow Museum uh, website and look up black codes, you'll get an overview there. But then at the Constitution Center, they have black codes, and they basically say the black codes were a series of laws passed throughout the South in the wake of emancipation, although often professing to respect the equality and civil rights of the newly emancipated. In reality, most of the black codes were specifically designed to curtail the economic, political, and social freedom of African Americans, and through a combination of private and public efforts, restore much of the slave system that had existed prior to the war. Their passage inflamed Republicans, who were the progressives at the time, in Congress, and were cited as justification for passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1866 and the 14th Amendment. Mississippi's Black Codes said, "It shall not be lawful for any freedman, free Negro, or mulatto to intermarry with any white person, nor for any white person to intermarry with any freedman, free Negro, or mulatto. And any person who shall so intermarry shall be deemed guilty of felony, and on conviction thereof shall be confined in the state penitentiary for life." And there are a series of many more. All freedmen, free Negroes, mulattoes in this state over the age of 18 with no lawful employment or business shall be deemed vagrant, an act to punish certain offenses therein named and for other purposes. And we go on to South Carolina and
So if you
other
didn't have a
states.
job, you went to jail?
Yes, you became a slave again. You can enslave people for breaking the law. And so there were many systems put in place to see to it that there was no equality in the system. And when we talk about equality, sometimes we confuse that with equality of humanity. All human beings have that, but the equality was the equality of inequality of opportunity, of participation, and to make sure that the system always remained unequal. And this perpetuates itself. It's a self-perpetuating machine. The more you indoctrinate people into that mindset, the less work you have to do to exploit it. And so you can say little buzzwords and get people to vote against their interests when they really want to vote for the other person, which is evidenced by the everybody down ticket got elected except this person. But we played on your gender-based and race-based fears just enough to shift the perspective and take us back to a place uh, most Americans don't want to be. This only benefits the top 1-2% of Americans, and everybody else is getting shafted like always. Anyway, where are you going to be this coming week? My son skills. Where are you going to be?
Sunday. Oh, okay, because
Oh,
but
do you have any idea? Shall I, if I could speak sign language, do you know where you're going to be?
I was about to say that I had to realize I'll be this Sunday and Monday. I will be with Linnell at Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club, but my show and all late shows this week are canceled this week at Jimmy Kimmel's because of the vote, the what you call it, the bull people, the bull, the cow.
National Finals Rodeo.
The road, the bull people, the cows. Okay,
The
now
bull people.
I get it. The bull
I said
people
bull
and the
people.
cows.
I mean, I meant the rodeo.
That who
Thank
didn't
you,
know that?
thank you, Stephen, for tagging in and
Who
helping me.
didn't know you meant the rodeo? We thought you really meant the bull people and the cows was gonna be in Jimmy Kimmel's club.
Oh dear.
Oh, Stephen, I'm buying you some of that Trump fight cologne for Christmas.
You did? You bought some of that for me? What you want me to drink it? I don't understand. What do you want me?
No, no. Did y'all see that he got a cologne out called
Uh,
Fight?
Yes, he got everything. Everything is for sale. Anyway,
Uh,
I
Stephen,
do. Don't you kind of want to smell it though? Don't you kind of
no,
want
yeah,
to? Yes, I
I
want to
do.
see what
I
it
do
is.
want to see
no,
sniff
but
and plug
I
that
think
fight.
he and I wear the same color makeup, so I would be interested in that shiny orange kind of makeup. Maybe it would, bring out a little color.
Yeah.
Anyway, Stephen.
Hey, check out StephenRobertsComedian.com for my latest dates. I'll be at LA Comedy Club sometime this week. Check that out. And
Okay,
also, you can see me on Behind the Comedian on Amazon Prime, season
okay.
1.
Well, good on you, and everybody look forward to see my sons wherever they are. They're well worth the price of admission.
Oh,
I will be what?
I remember something.
Okay.
This Tuesday, I'll be at the Hollywood Park Casino in LA.
Okay. Anytime you have these sudden bursts of memory, feel free to just jump right in and interrupt me no matter what I'm doing. If I'm asleep, call me, wake me up, jump up and down on the bed if you have to. We need your voice. We need to hear you. And in my life, there's a hole when you're not around. I will be going to Chicago, to the Chicagoland area to appear this Friday, the 13th, the good luck day for witches and sorceresses and goddesses like myself. Anyway, I'm going to be at the Ameristar Casino for Damon Williams and friends. If you have a chance, come on out. I'm going to talk some more stuff. Anyway, and then I'll be at the LA, not the LA, at the Comedy Cellar. I'll be at the Comedy Cellar December 16th through 22nd. So come out and see me there. Keep watching Midnight in the Marshaverse. We have a lot of fun doing this, and we've got some really good guests coming up. We've had some great guests. Go back into the archives and see all of the shows with people you know and people you really would do well to meet. And we look forward to seeing you. We love you. Like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Find us, tell people, uh, let us know what you like. You can tell us what you don't like, but we probably won't read those first. But anyway, Skills, Stephen,
Send us presents for Christmas.
thank you so much. Skills wants some presents for Christmas. He likes Swishers, but don't buy too many. He only likes to buy them one at a time.
I
I'm
like
gonna
We
that.
buy
don't.
you a whole pack of pre-rolls.
No,
Why you that tub?
we listen. We don't judge. So anyway, I hope your holiday season is wonderful. I'll see you next week, and enjoy yourself. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care. Bye bye.
She got away, no one can do it like that. Her own style, no one can wear that hat. Hey, don't you know that the queen is back? She's back, she's back. She withstands the test of time. When it comes to strength, she comes to